Monday, January 9th, and I am in, not really sure what city this is. I'm right off of Poston Road in Arizona, about a mile or two from the Arizona-California border. And I'm here today to look at the Poston War Memorial Monument. I'll put the name up, I'm not speaking well today. And this is at the site of the Poston War Relocation Camp, which is to say the largest of the Japanese internment camps from World War II. Those of you familiar with George Takei, he was at one of the internment camps in Arkansas. The one we're looking at today is in Arizona. From what I read, several of the buildings are still standing, and this is on Colorado River Indian tribal lands. The government, in all their infinite wisdom, decided to put some of the relocation camps on Indian territory. The tribes have asked that we wear face masks in public, so I'm going to put a mask on. That may change whether you're able to hear me while I'm out there, but I will film as much as I can for you guys so that you can see this bit of American history. We are surrounded on both the left and right by Crit reservation land. That's the Colorado River Indian tribes. And this is a whole valley that they've irrigated and are farming fairly extensively. I believe that that's a mission of the Crit, and it was something that came about as a direct result of the internment camp being here. The Japanese who were interned would bring packets of seeds with them, and they planted those seeds at the internment camps in little garden plots that they were allowed to maintain. And the garden plots were so successful that over the course of the years, they started having them like do massive agriculture out here because some of the crops were so successful out here. And that in turn influenced the Crit tribes who were already here to go, hey, we could, you know, grow this to a bigger thing that would bring profit to our region and increase our livelihood's not the word I mean, but that would bring more capital to the tribal lands, and they would have a resource to barter for, you know, not barter's not what I mean either, but you grow crops, you sell them on the market, you make money, people get houses. That, like I said, today is not a wording good day. But I'm still going to try to bring you the cool stuff, because this is some cool stuff and it's an interesting way to see history. So yes, that was the St. Kateria Takewitha Catholic Mission that we just passed on. You might have seen it some. It was on the left. And I quickly mangled the name of the mission, but it's out here on Poston Road. So yeah, it's all of that, being able to see and touch and feel and walk in the area where things happened. I mean, imagine if you were from Oregon or Washington and suddenly you get moved out here to the desert and you're surrounded by these mountains and cactuses and told, here's where you're going to live until we feel like setting you free. Thanks for being an American citizen. Yay. And I think that's the part that I find the most aggravating, is that, well, I find a lot of it aggravating. I was never taught about the Japanese internment camps when I was in high school in the mid to late 80s. And then in my mid-20s, a friend of mine told me this story where she had written a high school paper on a piece of American history. That's what the assignment was. And she had done an extensive paper on the Japanese internment camps. And her teacher gave her a failing grade on the paper, saying that she had made the whole thing up, that Japanese internment camps never existed. The parent being kind of a tiger mom, as it were. I mean, like non-Asian of any kind of descent, but very much a tiger mom kind of vibe. Went after it and, you know, took it to the principal, who was also like, never happened. And it ended up going all the way to the superintendent before the superintendent was like, yeah, super mea culpa and your grade's fine. So the amount of ignorance within the United States education system about whether Japanese internment camps on American soil of American citizens who happen to look Japanese or sound Japanese or have a Japanese last name, that we interned American citizens on American soil because they might have had a similarity to somebody from Japan. And it's so aggravating that A, that we would imprison our own citizens for that, B, that several of those citizens had served in our military and helped secure our freedoms, and they were interned all the same, that our American education system would refuse to acknowledge the existence of this history, that when our government in its infinite wisdom decided that they were going to inter its own citizens, they decided to do it on Indian tribal lands. I mean, not only are we like, oh, hey, we're not going to let you call this land your home anymore. We're going to move you from Missouri to the armpit of Arizona. Good luck. Trail of Tears and all that, because we sucked in how we treated First Nations people. And then after we treat them with so much suck, then we're like, oh, and we're going to come reclaim this section of it so that we can move a bunch of Japanese people to your neighborhood. Cheers. Sorry, what? How is any of that ever going to have been okay? And I wish that this was the only embarrassing chapter in American history, but it's so not. It's so not. It's not even the most embarrassing chapter. It's just yet another embarrassing chapter, where we take something as ridiculous as the color of your skin, the epithelial, I forget what it's called, the eye fold, the syllables of your last name, the, you know, potential ancestry of where your parents might have been from, and we hold it against you. Never mind the amount of melanin in your skin, the texture of your hair, you know, we're gonna hold that against you. And it's so stupid and just stupid. We have so much more in common with one another than that which people choose to divide us by. And so places like this just make my blood boil. I'm not even of any kind of Asian descent of which I am aware. But as an American citizen, it infuriates me that we treated other Americans this way, that we reneged on our promises to First Nations people this way, that we put First Nations people in a position to be impugned upon in this way in the first place. I mean, we are so embarrassing as a nation, just ridiculous amounts of things that we have done to one another. Anyway, and rant, but I thought I would let you folks see what the Crit Reservation looks like while we're driving. They are clearly banging it on with the agriculture. I'm not even sure what crop they're growing. I think it's hay. Fascinating and horrifying and important to know that these events were real, that these events did happen. So thank you for joining me on this side trip out to the Colorado River Indian Tribes Reservation so that we could look at the Poston War Relocation Camp, Japanese internment camp that operated from 1942 to 1945.
Yeah.